Have you given up on your dreams of owning a house in the UK one day? It's no secret that house prices are pretty terrible, but what if we told you they won't stay that way for long? The constant upward trend of house prices over 2024 is scary to look at, but there's an economic phenomenon that might shift the tide of the prices in 2025 almost completely. In this video, we're about to explore what could lead to the most groundbreaking change in the trends of house prices in the UK. In 2024, the UK property market showed an upward trend with house prices growing unevenly across different areas. In the middle of the year, house prices rose about 2.5%, but a detailed analysis of regions shows varied results. By the start of 2024, home values increased moderately. Buyers were cautious because of the constantly high interest rates for mortgages. January 2024 saw house prices in the UK at about £282,000, and it only marginally increased over last year. Home hunters were cautious as the marketplace looked frozen in uncertainty. Still, conditions improved as details about possible cuts in mortgage rates became more apparent. As prices rose slightly, buyers started to enter the market with excitement about anticipated lower rates. Across March, house prices rose by roughly 1.2% month over month, showing that buyer confidence was on the rise. Many potential buyers began to believe it was the right time to make a move due to the potential of reduced lending rates. The condition differed across the board. By the middle of the year, growth of house prices reached an impressive 5.1% in Northern Ireland. By the same period, the housing market in London and parts of the South East displayed minimal growth at just 0.2%. When summer arrived, the real estate sector began to gain momentum. Some base rate cuts from the Bank of England, along with an improved economic forecast, helped boost the market. Suddenly, more buyers and sellers were entering the scene, and house prices saw a solid jump. In June alone, prices rose by 2.2%, pushing the average UK house price up to around £290,000. The boost was especially noticeable in areas where homes are more affordable. Regions like Wolverhampton and Oldham were seeing price growth of around 3%, which was well above the national average. Buyers in these more affordable areas were clearly eager to get in on the action, taking advantage of the slightly better borrowing conditions. But even though prices were rising, the higher cost of borrowing was still a tough pill to swallow for many buyers, especially in pricier spots like London and the South East. Buyers in these regions were a lot more cautious, and the rate of price growth there couldn't quite keep up with the rest of the country. Affordability remained a big concern, and that meant buyers were more price sensitive, which kept things slower in those markets. As the year moved into its final stretch, house prices continued to rise, but the pace had started to slow. By August, prices had gone up by another 1.4% since the start of the year, and it looked like the market was on track for that total 2.5% increase by the year's end. New sales were still happening, and buyers were generally paying prices that were closer to the seller's original asking price. But not everything was smooth sailing. About 1 in 5 homes had to drop their asking prices by more than 5% just to get buyers interested, especially when it came to smaller properties like 1 or 2 bedroom flats. In certain regions, house price growth was still moving full steam ahead. The Scottish Borders, for example, were seeing the fastest increases, with places like Dumfries and Galloway registering annual price hikes of 4.4%. On the flip side, parts of the east of England and southwest weren't faring as well, with house prices falling by around 0.9 to 2% in some areas. But will these prices keep increasing in 2025 as well? You might be surprised, but it seems that the UK house prices will be taking a serious dip. How though? It's opportunities like these that make you want to stay up to date with what's going on with the economy. And if you want to stay updated, like, share and subscribe to our channel for more similar content. Let's look at the numbers from late 2024. The Office for National Statistics recently reported that house price growth is slowing down. In the last few months of 2024, the average house price in the UK is now sitting at around £290,000. When you break that down by region, England's average is £306,000, Wales is £218,000, and Scotland is a bit lower at £199,000. Northern Ireland, though, saw the biggest jump, with prices 6.4% to an average of £185,000. If you're wondering about rent, that's been climbing too. The average rent in the UK is now over £1,100 a month, and in London, rent prices are rising the fastest. It's no surprise that inflation is playing a huge role here, and it's making things even trickier for buyers and renters alike. People have mixed feelings about what's coming next. Richard Harrison from Atom Bank pointed out that while the Bank of England might not cut interest rates just yet, the markets seem to think that a rate cut is coming by the end of the year, which would be good news for anyone looking to buy. On the other hand, Sarah Coles from Hargreaves Lansdown warned that those who have tracker mortgages might not see lower payments for a while. Inflation is sticking around, and that's making the future interest rate cuts more uncertain. Other experts like Mark Harris from SPF Private Clients noted that some banks are already lowering mortgage rates. Santander, for instance, has rolled out 2-year fixed-rate mortgages at under 4%, which is the lowest in 2 years. And 5-year fixed rates are in the same ballpark, giving buyers a bit of relief after months of increasing rates. Lenders are also competing to offer better deals, and David Hollingworth from L&C Mortgages thinks that's a good thing for anyone looking to secure a mortgage. Nikki Stevenson from Fine & Country echoed the sentiment, pointing out that while the economy is sending mixed signals, the housing market is still holding on thanks in part to recent interest rate cuts. The property market bounced back in early autumn of 2024, with asking prices going up by 0.8% in September, pushing the average asking price to £370,000. This surge in activity has been driven by lower mortgage rates and more properties coming onto the market. In fact, sales agreements are up by a whopping 27% compared to last year, showing just how much pent-up demand there is. But despite all this movement, it takes an average of 60 days to find a buyer for a house. So while the market is picking up, it's not exactly smooth sailing just yet. Sellers are seeing more activity, but the process is still a bit slow. Laura Suter from AJ Bell says the Bank of England isn't likely to make any major moves right away. The bank did lower interest rates back in August, but it looks like they'll be keeping them at 5% for now. Their approach is cautious, preferring to take things slowly rather than make any drastic changes. A small rate cut to 4.75% is still possible, though. Of course, upcoming inflation data could throw a wrench in the works. If inflation numbers surprise anyone, the Bank of England might have to rethink its plan. But for now, it seems like we're in a holding pattern, with no big decisions expected until November or December 2024. Now, let's look at a deeply concerning prediction moving forward. When property values fall sharply and unexpectedly, a house price crash takes place. One day comes when the gradual increase in home values abruptly ceases, then quickly falls back unexpectedly. Owners may experience dread about this fall because a property would stop being as valuable as you'd expect. If you plan to purchase a home during a house price decline, it could appear as a gift. However, lower costs might indicate that properties become cheaper. Consequently, this situation may signify financial difficulties, reducing access to mortgages. Although it looks like a benefit for customers, it can be a complex experience. Let's get into what causes this. While many view the property sector as a dependable field within the economy, it still faces crises. When issues arise unexpectedly, they can turn disastrous. What really sets off this type of collapse? First up, the economy. As the economy declines, the real estate sector follows suit. With fewer available jobs and less cash income, people spend less on houses, causing their demand to dwindle. When fewer buyers are available, sellers often find themselves lowering their prices to gain attention. Fundamental market forces are here in effect. The housing market is also affected by changes in interest rates to manage inflation, and direct economic growth rates change at the Bank of England. As interest rates rise, borrowers encounter higher costs. That can be troubling for those seeking a mortgage. Today's market shows less interest in buying homes, and this can drive down real estate values. Even current homeowners with adjustable rate mortgages can find themselves paying more each month, which could force them to sell or foreclose. Then, sometimes banks and financial institutes decide to make it harder to get a loan. This often happens during uncertain economic times or in response to regulatory changes. When it's tougher to get a mortgage, demands for homes drops and prices tend to follow suit. There's also the issue of overbuilding. Developers sometimes misjudge the market, building too many homes in areas where there just isn't enough demand. When there are more homes than buyers, prices can take a hit as sellers compete for fewer potential buyers. Let us explain how this works. As of late 2024, the UK has hit a record high in terms of homes for sale. Zoopla, a top property website, says estate agents have more homes on their books than they've had in the last 8 years. This means more choices for buyers, but it also means sellers might have to lower their expectations if they want to close a deal quickly. This increase in supply could help keep house prices from skyrocketing. But at the same time, it might put a damper on price growth for the rest of the year. Now, here's the big question. Could the government swoop in to save the day if the housing market crashes? Some experts think so. Heather Powell, a property specialist, suggests that the government could introduce schemes to help first-time buyers and stimulate the market. One idea is to bring back programs like Help to Buy, which made it easier for people to get on the property ladder without pushing prices up too much. So it seems that for now, the prices of houses are continuing to increase. However, if there's any truth in the predictions coming through, UK house prices might drop pretty soon, so stay on the lookout. If you liked this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch some more of our other videos that are just as interesting.